everyone, this is Teacher Marsha and welcome back to my video tutorials. Today we will be moving on with another unit, which is Unit 9. It's all about geometry. And our lesson for today, the first lesson is about 2D shapes and 3D shapes. I know you are all familiar with this topic. We've been talking about this since you were in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and now that you are in grade 4. So we will only have a recap of 2D shapes and 3D shapes. So the objective of our lesson is for you to be able to identify, describe, and draw a range of 2D shapes and 3D shapes. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Let us first define 2D shapes. In geometry, a two-dimensional shape can be defined as a flat, plane figure or a shape that has two dimensions only, the length and the width. That's why we call it 2D shapes, because it's only two-dimensional. Two-dimensional or 2D shapes do not have any thickness and can be measured in only two faces. Okay, so they don't have thickness unlike the 3D shapes. Okay. So 2D shapes can be categorized into two. Number one, we have the regular polygon. All of the sides and angles are equal. For example, we have the square, pentagon, and equilateral triangle. So you will notice that the sides are the same. They have the same sides. Also the angles, these are the angles. They are all the same. Same here with pentagon. Sides are of the same measurements and angles. These are the angles. They are all the same or equal to each other. Also this equilateral triangle, the sides are equal and even the angles. Okay, so we call this regular polygon. Another one, 2D shapes can also be irregular. Okay, when we say irregular, sides and angles are not all the same. So for example, we have the irregular triangles. Okay, these are triangles, but their sides and angles are not the same or are not of the same measurement. This is also a pentagon. Why did we say that it's pentagon? Because it has 5 sides. This is hexagon, but it is irregular. But it is hexagon since it has 6 sides. Okay, so we call this irregular polygons. Now let's talk about 2D shapes and their properties. So we have the vertex and vertices, and then we also have the side. Okay, so when we say vertex, it's singular, and the plural is vertices. Okay, so vertex typically means a corner or a point where lines meet. Okay, so as you can see in the picture, in layman's term, we call it corner, the corners. It is the point where the lines meet. Okay, so these are the vertices. Next is the side. What do we mean by side? Side is one of the line segments that make a flat shapes. So we will count all the lines, and these are what we call sides. So in the example given, I have a square. So let's count the number of sides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So a square has 4 sides. So these two terms are the words that you have to remember as we go through the different properties of 2D shapes. Okay? So these are the sides and these are the vertices. Now that you know what is a vertex and what is a side, we will now go through the different 2D shapes. Let's begin. The first shape is a square. This shape is called a square. It has 4 vertices and 4 straight sides, and each side is of equal length. So these are the properties of the shape. Again, number 1, it is called a square. It has 4 vertices and 4 straight sides, and each of the side is of equal length. Let's go to the second shape. This shape is called a rectangle. It has 4 vertices, 4 straight sides, and the opposite sides are of equal length. Let's see. So these are the vertices. It has 4 and sides 1, 2, 3, 4. And the opposite sides are equal. This side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. So this is rectangle. The third shape is circle. It has a curved side and it has no vertex, okay? Fourth shape is a triangle. So they have 3 sides and 3 vertices. So there are different triangles. Triangles that are of the same length, we call it equilateral. And the rest of the triangles here in this example are irregular triangles because their sides and angles are not the same. So this one is equilateral. All the sides are equal. This is called isosceles, and the rest are scalene triangles. The sides are of different measurements. The next shape is what we call pentagon. So as you can see in the example, there is a regular pentagon and irregular pentagon. They have 5 sides and 5 vertices. For regular pentagon, the sides or the length are the same. For a regular pentagon, the measurements of the sides are not equal, but both of this pentagon have 5 sides. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So any shape with 5 sides, we categorize that as pentagon. Next shape is hexagon. They have 6 sides and 6 vertices. In the example, you will see a regular hexagon and an irregular hexagon. So for regular hexagon, all the sides are equal. But for irregular, they are of different lengths. Okay, so let's count the number of sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's move. Now let's go to the next shape. This shape is called octagon. So we have here a regular octagon and an irregular octagon. Each shape has 8 sides and 8 vertices. The difference is that for regular octagon, the lengths of the sides are equal, while for irregular octagon, the lengths of the sides are not the same. So let's count the number of sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's have a recap again of the different 2D shapes. A shape with 4 sides, 4 vertices, and each of the sides are of equal length is what we call square. A shape with 4 sides, 4 vertices, but 2 opposite sides are equal, we call that rectangle. A shape with 1 curved side, but there is no vertex, we call that circle. A shape with 3 sides and 3 vertices is what we call triangle. A shape with 5 sides and 5 vertices is what we call pentagon. A shape with 6 sides and 6 vertices is what we call hexagon. And last but not the least, a shape with 8 sides and 8 vertices is what we call octagon. So those are the different 2D shapes. Now let's move on to 3D shapes. 3D shapes are solid objects that have 3 dimensions. These dimensions are length, width, and height. While 2D shapes are flat, 3D shapes objects have depth. For example, a soccer ball is a 3D shape. It's also known as a sphere, while a circle on a piece of paper is a 2D shape. Okay? So the difference between 2D shapes and 3D shapes, for 2D shapes, it has only length and width. But for 3D shapes, it has three dimensions, length, width, and height. Now let's talk about the 3D shapes and their properties. So there are only three properties that you have to be familiar with in dealing with 3D shapes. The first one is the vertex or vertices. It's the same with the 2D shape. The second one is the face or faces. And the last one is the edge or edges. Okay, let's go back to the face. A face is a flat surface that forms part of the boundary of a solid object. So there are two types of face. It can be curved or it can be also flat or straight face. Okay, so in the example, this is a tetrahedron. These are the faces. Next one is the edge or edges. It is a line segment on the boundary joining one vertex or one corner to another. In 2D shape, we call this side. But in 3D shape, we don't say side, we say edge or edges instead. So these are the edges of the this 3D shape. Okay, for you to be able to understand the difference between the three, I have here an example, cuboid. So these are the vertex or vertices. These are the edges. And these are the faces. So those are the three terms that you have to be familiar with as we go through the different 3D shapes. Okay, let's begin. These shapes are called sphere. These are not circles. We call them sphere. They do not have any edge or any vertex. Let's go to the next shape. These shapes are what we call cube. They have 6 flat faces. They have 12 edges and 8 vertices. And all of the edges are of the same length. So let's count the number of faces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the bottom. And on the other side, 6. Okay. What about the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And what about the vertices? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now the next shape is a cuboid. These shapes have 6 flat faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. So it's the same with cube. But the opposite faces of these shapes are the same. So this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. But the number of faces, the number of edges, and the number of vertices are the same of cube. Next shape is cylinder. Cylinder have two flat faces and one curved face. So these are the two flat face, 1, 2, and this is the curved face of a cylinder. And they have two curved edges and no vertices. Okay, so these are the edges, 1, 2, but they don't have a vertex. Next shape is a cone. They have one flat face and one curved face. So this is the flat face and this is the curved face. It has one curved edge. This is the edge and it has one vertex. The next shape is triangular prism. Triangular prism has 5 flat faces. They have 9 edges and 6 vertices. The opposite faces are triangles and the remaining 3 faces are rectangles. Let's count the number of faces. So 1, this side 2, 3, 4, and bottom 5. Okay, so there are 5 faces. The edges 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what about the vertices? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 2 opposite faces are triangles while the 3 remaining faces are rectangles. The next shape is hexagonal prism. Hexagonal prism has 8 flat faces. They have 18 edges and 12 vertices. Opposite faces are hexagon while the remaining 6 faces are rectangles. So these are the examples of hexagonal prism. Let's move on to the next shape. This shape is called pyramid, or in other books we call it square base pyramid, since the base of this pyramid is made up of square. So this shape has flat faces. It doesn't have any curved face. It has 8 edges and 5 vertices. As I've mentioned, the base is a square, while the 4 remaining faces are triangles. Let's recap again the different 3D shapes. So what do you call these shapes? This is a sphere. What about this shape? It's a cube. This shape, it's a cuboid. And what about this shape? Cylinder. The next shape, it's a cone. This one, it's a triangular prism. And this shape, it's a hexagonal prism. And last but not the least, it's called pyramid. So that ends our lesson for today about 2D shapes and 3D shapes. And I hope to see you all again next week for another video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Bye!